So I guess to catch you guys up with the DanDanDan and Brazilian Miku drama. So God, this is gonna sound really, really, really bad. YouTube might love this. We'll see. This is gonna paint me in an awful light while I'm literally as split down the middle in this topic as much as I can. Yeah. So if y'all remember what Brazilian Miku is, it's there's something I need to check first. I think I forgot to research this. Before I speak this word. Okay. So yeah, I was right. So if you don't know, Brazilian Miku is a Brazilian version of Miku, as comes by the name. And saying half of the words that easily describe this, it changes her skin tone. There's what you get. All right, you get a changes of her skin tone. And this at a certain point, yeah, makes her tanner. Just be able to be anybody in her inception. So here's the main issue with that. She's still fan art. Now, what does that mean? All right, this is gonna be, I'm gonna have to explain, and then I'll get to my main point. All right, she is still a fan art. She still has a source material. That source material has been the repeated source material for years upon years upon years upon years since Vocaloid created Hatsune Miku. Now, there's nothing wrong with making fan art. Don't get me wrong. That's fine. Make fan art. It's good. It's good. I appreciate good fan art. And then the Brazilian Miku trend took off. And then it started being more of a, what characters can we do this to? Then this is whenever it goes back to the DanDanDan circle. And then they started doing the same thing with characters from that series. Now, again, nothing wrong with that. Except that it wasn't for Brazilian Miku type deal. It was to change the skin tone and ethnicity of a character just for the sake of doing it. Now, obviously, you're gonna spark some backlash. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm just being careful. Because again, you can take anything in this conversation and take it out of context and paint me in an awful light. I am tiptoeing around the bush so that I may not say something Yeah, I have to, unfortunately. And it is a issue in that you're changing characters, especially DanDanDan right now. That is a very beloved series right now. Everyone loves that series right now. Hell, I haven't even seen it, and I just kind of dig the vibe, right? The art style, the vibe, the dorky characters. It's all very entertaining, even at the little bits and pieces that I've seen. So obviously, when you start changing characters to fit a... What's up, Headshot? I am a very direct human being. I hate beating around the bush. When you change characters that people like, especially not for fan art, like this is another issue. This wasn't necessarily a fan art type ordeal. This was more a we're changing it because it was commissioned. And that's not a joke. It was commissioned to change these characters. Now, whether or not the art's good, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Quick rundown on the current topic. The DanDanDan and Brazilian Hatsune Miku ordeal kind of going on right now. And because they changed characters for the sake of a commission, and worst part is there's supposed to be 2 different ethnicities in the art. The artist needed to shut her mouth before she started replying to comments. It was a commissioned art piece of the 2 characters, I believe, from a scene. And yeah, how dare someone draw scenes? Which, obviously, it's going to be looked at in a light, especially if you change the main characters of the source material. People aren't going to quite like that, especially with the series as prominent and as beloved right now. And so the change that they made is fine. I don't care. But expect backlash. And there was obviously some disdain from Eastern and Western people. Don't get me wrong. You can find the topics over there. I feel people take issue when people say they do it and say they improved it compared to the original source. So you're kind of right. But what ends up happening, and it's what's going on with Brazilian Miku right now, is that it's no longer fan art. It is turning into a claim of character. As in, very much so. Very pretentious and rude, Lou. And I was laying there for a while trying to figure out what all was there. And Yeah, like it is. There were better ways for it to be handled in a more comedic fashion. It wasn't handled that way. Correct, Boom. And so then this made its way towards the Brazilian Miku scene. And artists who were drawing Miku with more of a tan rather than how certain artists claim she should be are coming at those artists for racial reasons. And it's continuing in this circle because it's what did you expect? Yeah, they've gone from both her classic design and I agree, it is a fictional character, but it is the same argument anybody will always take. And it's this fictional character, regardless of who it is, has thousands of hours of source material. The issue with this argument, Headshot, is that it's created a double standard in the artist community. And when I mean it's created a double standard, it's if I say, let's change Falcon to a different skin color. He's fictional, but then you completely from the MCU. It is a problem that they have a culture and they have had their cultural impact. Falcon from the MCU was a very, very important character for culture, especially nerd culture and comic book culture. Because of simply how he was named. So when you start taking the standard, yeah, I'm beating around the bush, so you're gonna, she doesn't have to look one way, but also what's happening is you have artists claiming that in this variation, she can only look this way. And again, you drew fan art of a original source character. And they're creating a headcanon for said character to proceed with harassing other artists. And it's going vice versa. And then there's yeah. Brazilian Miku has to look a certain way, and failure to do so gets you reamed off the internet. Now, God, this is... It's like saying headcanon is canon because they said so. Sasuke and Naruto gay ships. Yeah. Except that I accidentally just inhaled into or exhaled into the mic. There was no problem with this at all until exactly headshot. That's another point of the argument that people are making. It is a very it is a thing that people are doing that they are putting in a way that it is only that it it's God, this is bullshit. You drew fan art, okay? Fan art is fine. You're drawing Steven Universe fan art too skinny. It's just kind of, yeah, it goes this way. This has actually been an issue in cosplay for a while too, shit like this. And yeah, they drew Brazilian Miku too light, not dark enough. And if you draw it too light, your insert phrase here, something to do with A10 and General Electrics. It is silly to think you the gal on General Electric makes washing machines. They call them blank. Yeah. Gal 8. Yeah. And people lost their shit for no good reason. Exactly. Let me just watch this, yeah. And taking a side in this particular situation pretty much just gets you called racist either way, which makes me question why I'm beating around the bush at this point. It's a fan art. Your fan art hasn't been confirmed or made as a official version of Miku. Vocaloid has made no statement on that Brazilian Miku is a real variation of Miku. You drew a fan art. Okay, this fan art has its source material. You don't own Miku's name. So putting something in front of Miku's name and then drawing it and then claiming that this has to be your way or the highway is a stupid fuck argument. You don't own shit. Now, obviously, the situation could have probably been handled more gently. That's what I'm going to go with. And people could have been nicer and probably not blown this up to a massive proportion. But that is on them. They are the outliers of the problem. They took an issue, blew it up, and then everyone rose to that, rather than everyone taking it down a notch. Yeah, I personally don't care when it actively affects their character or the impact of that character, and only if it's a canon source, like with Snow White, have to be white and she's fair, and Chanta having to be native for obvious reasons, which is understandable. Holding to a source material, as hard as people have a time doing that anyways, looks at most of our generation unable to cite a fucking piece of paper correctly. It doesn't bother me until you started claiming and you started coming at people for your claim on a character who wasn't yours in the first place. It's, for example, let's say somebody drew my model as a fan art, and they changed me in the same way. Probably will never happen, but this is why I'm using it as a reference, because it's probably never gonna happen. So if it ends up coming back and happening, I will be absolutely impressed, and I'll be posting this YouTube video on my Twitter. You can change me all you want. You can draw me however you want. But Brazilian DOG. But it does not change what my model already was. Do I have a problem with Brazilian DOG? No. I might have a problem with hairy DOG, actually. We're gonna have to back out of that. Brazilian butt lift DOG. These don't bother me. Again, it is fan art. I'm okay with this. Now, if you were claiming this art to be the official version of me, if I was to ever do something like that, I would have a problem. And I would be annoyed, because you are then writing a canon on a character, right? That this character now has to be this way. So what happens whenever the source material, aka I in this scenario, wants to do something to support that? Let's just say for Brazilian support. Do I have to change the way that you drew the fan art? Or are we going to have a bitch fit whenever I do it my way to me, because I am the source material? You see, this is why you can't claim fan art as a source of canon material. You are working with fan art. You are not working with a canon source material. So to change a character and to say that this is it is like claiming a piece of content. They're not claiming it as a canon source material. They're claiming it as their canon, right? So what's happening is Brazilian Miku artists are claiming that Brazilian Miku has to look a certain way. Failure to draw her in that way means you are not supporting the source material. Sure, Brazilian Miku is the source material, but where did Brazilian Miku come from? Miku. So if for whatever reason Miku wanted to show support for Brazil of that sort, does that Miku then, or does Vocaloid then have to follow that artist's way? Or are they going to completely retcon that artist's go for? It's like writing someone, it's like reading a book and writing someone else's page. right? It's like you're writing a book and it's like your editor changes the page, right? You write your book, you send it off to get it proofread by an editor, and the editor changes a page and completely destroys anything you ever did. And then whenever that gets sent out, it's not the material you wrote, it's the material he wrote. And then people are going to do stuff of that. And it just doesn't work. You can't claim something that was never yours to claim. I take claim of this page because I wrote this, says the editor, followed by the people who read it. And they're like, oh, I like that page. And so then the artist now has to follow that editor's change if they ever do a sequel to that book. And so that's what people are doing whenever they claim that Brazilian Miku is only allowed to look a certain way. And that is not good. You can't write someone else's story. It's just not an option. Remember, kids, Brazilians all look the same. Yeah, totally. And you're dumb for even thinking you can do that. And it's a stupid problem that people don't fully grasp how big of a problem it really is. That's what my boomer dad said. And people need to understand that fan art at the end of the day is still fan art. I'm not gonna consider like fan art canon because it is fan art unless I ask the artist if I can use something from a fan art that they've done and make that canon. And like all that Sonic inflation, yeah. And that, I think, is the main issue, is that people aren't quite understanding. People aren't able to people enough to explain why they have an issue with it in a calm and collected manner. Refer to Boom's post earlier. It's my stance. Both sides act in fools. Some people more than others. The East being fed up, being used as a face for their debates for a lot lately. So I understand the sour feelings and disdain. So I feel that in that area, they have the right to be tired of it. You're right. And exactly. The dog furry that if you want to draw fan art, you had to pay them. Exactly. Again, it's like owning something that isn't yours, right? Like, they do own their character, but it's fan art. You shouldn't be paying for fan art. You don't own their art. You don't need to be getting paid for somebody else's work, right? And while I understand that you want people to follow your source material and you want people to be a specific way, you don't live in that world. It's fan art. It can be drawn however fucking way you want it to be drawn. You are the artist. I don't understand how in this situation artists who will bitch, moan, and groan that art is in the eye of the beholder. And then whenever art isn't the way they fucking want in a fan art, they throw a bitch, moan, and groan about it. It doesn't fucking matter in that aspect. It is fan art. It is non fucking canon to Miku. At least right now, if a Brazilian Miku shows up and she looks just like the fan art, cool. Don't care. Now we have a source material. That entire argument is a waste of people's time. But what's ending up happening is that people are just coming at one another as artists and trying to get them canceled off the internet due to racist, like, bullshit rhetorics from both sides. And it is a double standard that neither of them will fucking ever agree to being existent. And when they get called out on it, they just call you this thing or that thing. But at the end of the day, none of these motherfuckers own Miku. It's all fan art. None of these motherfuckers owe anybody a specific way it needs to be drawn. Vocaloid owns Miku, as Headshot has said. And however they change Miku is how they change it. You, as an artist, when you draw fan art, just because it was popular does not mean that is a canon event. That does not mean you own that fan art. And if people want to do fan art of your fan art, you don't own their fan art either. You can't say how it needs to be drawn. It is fan art. She doesn't have to be any sort of way. That isn't your place to give it, right? Now, for example, let's say you wanted to draw Race Car Miku. You have a source material as a fan art. You have what does need to be somewhat followed. Now, you can change it a little bit, but we have Race Car Miku. If you are drawing Race Car Miku, you are drawing Race Car Miku, like Race Car Driver Miku. You have that source material. We've had that source material. And yeah, it's like people getting a defensive over the Abridged series. Very popular, still not canon. Exactly. And they need to stop. This isn't anybody's battle except for yours. And even then, you should just be yelling at yourself because you have no place to talk on how somebody else drew something. Now, obviously, people probably shouldn't have said the things that they've said and become pretentious and rude and kind of become assholes and say some bad things. But you need to understand that this is just gonna happen. You're changing beloved characters, and then you're trying to claim that character, that it has to be that way, right? And then to involve people from other countries that aren't even a part of your fucking culture to demand things from them is fucking crazy. Their problems aren't yours, and your problems have no right to be getting pushed on other people's problems. Stop it. And this whole Brazilian Miku and DanDanDan, everything has triggered such a stupid chain of reactions that I don't even understand anymore. They were some of the artists that were other ways, or that drew Brazilian Miku in a different way, were not Western. Like I said, if you are drawing Brazilian Miku and not the way that it has been drawn by other people, you are at scrutiny from those people. And people need to grow the fuck up. That's it. I have nothing else on this. I'm honestly I'm more done beating around the fucking bush. You don't own art other than your own. You do not control other artists. And this is going to both fucking sides. You don't control artists. They can draw however they want. If you want to sit there and call people racial slurs or things that involve race, you need to check your fucking self, first off, because this is fucking stupid. You want to use art is in the eye of the beholder as a fucking weapon against other artists over all of this stupid shit for changing two things that had a source material. And you are upset and pissed off about it. These fucking artists need to either grow the fuck up, or people need to realize that this world doesn't revolve around them. Because this is fucking stupid. I'm literally fed up with this. This happens every fucking time. And you don't own this. This isn't yours to own. I don't see I work for Vocaloid in your bio. I don't see you're an official artist of Vocaloid in your bio. So you don't have any right to be telling fucking anybody how they need to be drawing any fucking thing. Thanks for the drink, Barbed. And it is actually fucking pathetic of both sides to think they own it either way. And to tell other artists that you're only allowed to draw fan art this way, and you're only allowed to draw Brazilian Miku this way, is fucking stupid. Grow up. Literally grow up. Because this is dumb. This is actually fucking dumb. There is no way that you think you even remotely have the right to do any of what you think you're fucking doing. And it's fucking stupid. It's just fucking stupid. As an artist, or as not an artist, as these artists, there you go, are saying, y'all need to realize that Your fan art doesn't count as a canon. And god damn it, are these fucking artists really good at saying that a certain thing has to be drawn a certain way. Oh, I claim it. Shut up. You don't claim shit. You're an artist. Grow up. Fucking dumb. God, these fucking artists are... This whole situation is fucking stupid. It's like, it's art. Who fucking cares? Why does your art have to look like somebody else's? It's fucking dumb. These artists need to sit the fuck down. Is all I care about. Cause Jesus Christ, this is fucking stupid. Fuck this art. I'm probably gonna get canceled for this fucking video, but who gives a shit? Fuck them. I don't. At this fucking point, you have a source material. You have what needs to be drawn. Both sides are just as angry as each other, and you're all acting like fucking children. There you go. Who cares? Fuck you. It's fucking dumb. These fucking artists, bro. I can't with that anymore, dude. It's fucking pathetic. Like, you don't own DanDanDan, you don't own fucking Miku. They don't need to be drawn any certain way. You don't own the ability to say that people who want to draw fan art of it that certain way, you also don't own that. It's not your place. Fuck out of here.